Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, today we're going to look at something that is really important, no doubt about it. Everyone wants to know, and they're making their phone calls in and asking the Wrangler, they're saying, Dick, what makes a good leader? And you see, the thing that makes a good leader is something that makes a good wrangler also. And the reason for that is a wrangler, you see, they learn to lead from the top of a saddle while staying on a horse. Now, for those of you who've never done that, I have to tell you from personal experience, it's some days a lot harder than other days, but it takes a talent to be able to do that. Now, the good part about sitting up on top of your horse is you definitely get a good view of what's going on around the countryside. Now, for leaders need to do something that a good wrangler will do also. You see, a good leader can see farther, see more, and then take action with no fear. Now, a wrangler out on the range or even in the back 40 pasture, they see something that's going on, they need to take action immediately. And so to do that, though, they have to do some things. They have to have done the research of what the consequences of those choices are going to be. And they have to be prepared to take action. Now, leaders, that's the same thing in the business world, isn't it? You see, a good leader in the business world can see farther, and that means they can see down the road. They're also looking to see what's around them, so they see more of what is going on. And they see all the parts and pieces and how they work together to build and maintain the corporation or the operation. And when they see something that needs doing, and it needs done right now, it's a life or death situation, they take action and they make it happen. You see, that takes us right to this next step, doesn't it? Wranglers see something that needs done and needs doing, they just do it. It amazes me that when I was growing up that my grandfather taught me that at an early age. You see something needs done, do it. You see something needs picked up, pick it up. You see something needs put away, put it away. You know, and it just seemed to be common sense. But after running several large corporations, I have to tell you, it doesn't seem to be common sense too much anymore. But I'll tell you this much. If the people that's working with you and around you see you, the leader, do it, they'll do it also, because people do what people see and people repeat what people hear. You see, that's just human nature. Now, one of the biggest things that I encourage leaders to do is, and the Wrangler is always good at it, is they bring a sense of enthusiasm to everything they do. It always amazes me that when you see an old cowpoke even shoveling horse manure, he's got a smile on his face. And you'd think, boy, that's a terrible job. But you know what? In his world, it needs doing. It's got to get done. And he's there and he makes it happen. Now, in the business world, it's the same thing. There's a lot of jobs in the business world that I'm not going to say are real pretty. There's a lot of paperwork nowadays, and you know, there's a lot of stuff you got to do on the computer, and there's things that just aren't really happy. It's not like you're out meeting the clients or meeting the public the whole time, and you're not speaking and having a good time. There's a lot of parts and pieces to it that just need done. And it always amazes me that when my loving wife will walk through the office and say, you know, it's about time you clean up this place, and she leaves and I clean it up. You see, that's just part of being a good leader. Doing what needs done when it needs doing, but with a smile on your face and a little bit of enthusiasm. You can make anything fun if you want to. Now, the next one, you know, Wranglers are always moving forward to reach their destination. I once heard a wrangler said even if he fell off a horse, he was moving forward. But think about that a little bit. They're always moving forward to reach their destination. These are folks, leaders, on the most part, know where they need to go and how to make it happen to get there. Now, one of the biggest things where I would say some leaders fall down is they don't share that knowledge with the folks around them. And it becomes a mystery to the people that work for them, with them, and around them. What's he doing, and how's he doing it, and why is he doing it that way? But if you just take a little time and have that open, honest conversation, encourage some questions from the folks around you, you'd be surprised how much they're going to get on board and really enjoy doing what you're doing and getting to the same place that you want to take everyone ready to go. Now, I have to tell you that the whole time I was wrangling, I enjoyed this next part because I saw it over and over that wranglers encourage everyone around them. You know, they know that nothing gets done by itself, but they're always encouraging one another. You can do it. You can do it. Or give it a try. Give it a try. For them, giving a try means giving it all you got. Giving 100%. Never backing down and making it happen. You see, encouraging one another, man, I'll tell you what, that goes a lot farther than throwing around those negative barbs that we've come to get used to in today's world. I like it when someone says, you know, there's no reason why you can't get that done. Just put your arm down and make her happen. Sometimes that's not as easy as it sounds, but I always find a way, and you will too. Now, wranglers like questions. These folks, these girls and men, you know, I'll tell you what, men and women, they just like questions. They enjoy when people ask them questions. Well, why are you doing that? Well, why are you doing that? What are you doing? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? What's the plan? You see, wranglers, for some reason, are like really good leaders. They normally have a really good reason and a really good plan and a really good answer. But the funny part about it is they'll do it with a smile on their face, and they'll sometimes give you a quick little answer, but you know what? On the most part, they'll always be there and help you through. So they enjoy people who ask questions. Now, leaders, I've met some leaders who didn't like people who asked questions. They thought it was questioning authority. That's not it at all. Leaders, when people around you are asking questions, they want to know, and they want to be involved. They want to be a part of it because they see you as the leader. And you know what? They want to follow. Give them something to follow. Tell them the truth. Get them bored. Now, wranglers, now, of course, they can always tell a positive story with a meaningful ending. It amazes me that sometimes I would have to almost reach down their throat with my hands and pull the words out because they talk really dead burn slow. But I'll tell you what, it always had a point to the matter. Now, some said that the wranglers that we were hanging around and being with, that they're real quiet folks, and they didn't say many words, and they said, you know, well, this one feller that I knew was a really good storyteller, by the way, they said, boy, it seems like he counts the number of words he uses every day, and once he gets to his count, that's all there is for the day. It wasn't that at all. You see, he was listening. And leaders, that's what leaders do. Leaders listen. They listen to all the parts and pieces that go into everything, and then only then they can put together a full picture to make good choices and decisions. Because you see, leaders, we oftentimes aren't making decisions just for ourselves. And when we have an employee or someone working with us, it's not just about us, it's not just about them, it's about our families when those decisions are made, or should be. I'm going to encourage all of y'all to think about that just a little bit. Now, one of the things that I've always enjoyed is the challenge that comes from being around other people of the same ilk. Whether they're cowboys or businessmen and women or they're pastors or whatever there are, I love being around other folks in my same world. But here's the difference. In the cowboy world, oftentimes that you'll hear someone say, "Cowboy up. Ain't no whining here. Put it behind you and let's get going." And they don't mean anything terrible about it, and they're not being sexist or talking down to you at all. They're, in their way, giving you a little bit of encouragement. They're saying, "Hey, step up to the plate." That's a good baseball one, isn't it? Step up to the plate and make a big swing like you're going to hit that ball out in the outfield. Put it in the stands. But you know what? Quit whining. Take another shot at it. You know what? If you don't succeed the first time, give it another shot. Keep trying. Give it 100%. Now, Wranglers oftentimes, they're the ones who motivate with the best coaching skills I've ever seen. And of course, they've learned those coaching skills, believe it or not, from working with those big, hard-headed animals that they work with all the time. I'll tell you what, if you can convince one of those big old Brahma bulls that they can come in out of the pasture, maybe that they can load up in a chute, you can probably convince most people of almost anything. But there again, it's using those coaching skills they've learned. Talk low, talk slow, listen to what's going on, see what's happening around. Learn the whole part and piece before you make a decision. Coaching skills. Leaders, if you haven't taken some classes, you haven't done some homework on what coaching means, please give us a call here and find that out. It's pretty easy. You can give us a call anytime at 727-422-1833. The Leadership Wrangler's always on board, and we can help you in through it. Now, the next piece really starts to take some time to look at, okay? Oftentimes, we analyze things to the point of holding ourselves there and not doing anything. You see, so don't overanalyze the situation or the opportunity. It's said that those old cowboys, they didn't overanalyze anything. They just took it and did it and got her done. Well, in the business world, sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's a terrible thing. So, yes, I believe in analyzing situations and looking at all parts and pieces and getting the 360-degree picture. But you know what? If you spend too much time analyzing, you just get paralyzed. And when the paralyzation happens, everything stops. Because the people there are going to be looking at you, leaders. They're going to be looking at you. And if you're paralyzed because you've overanalyzed, guess what they do? Because people do what people see and people repeat what people hear. So don't overanalyze. One of the things that I've learned and I've always enjoyed about hanging around these Wranglers, they don't know the word failure. You see, they know only the word try. And the word try for them means giving 100% no matter what. And it means if it didn't work out, they're going to get up, dust their britches off, and get back on. Now, in the business world, it's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. You see, there's not going to be a day where everything goes perfect. There's not going to be something that's going to be all the time good. You're not going to make every single choice and decision perfectly. There are going to be times when just flat and simple, it didn't go right. Or life just happened. And you need to take a look at it and find out why. But that doesn't mean stop. You see, I tell everybody myself is if you wanted it bad enough, you would find a way to make it happen. But what I think happens to leaders is they get stymied. And when they get stymied, they aren't really sure if they want it bad enough because, everything we do, we pay a price for. Whether it's a good one or a bad one, we still have to pay the price. It's pay me now or pay me later. So, let me tell you a story about failure. If you look at failure as a positive learning tool, you will definitely be able to take a little more risk from time to time. Now, I'm not going to say that go out and do something totally silly, but I will tell you that if you never take a risk, you're never going to do anything. And there again, the people around you are going to see, well, the leader's not doing anything, why should I? And believe me, that'll tear up a company quicker than you can take and shake a stick. Well, leaders, here's what I'm trying to really get at today. I'm trying to let you know that leaders always have a plan. You know, even if that plan is to wake up and do the very best they can, you know, in all that they do that day, they have a plan. Here's the thing. Great leaders share their plan. They're very open and honest about the communication to everyone in the operation, from the bottom to the top and every place in between. And they don't just communicate that thing just once. You see, great leaders communicate that plan all the time, over and over and over, until it gets ingrained and people buy into it, and all of a sudden everybody's working on the same level and going on the same path. And leaders, isn't that what we're always looking to do? But so many times I've been asked to come into situations and the leadership says, well, we told them once, we wrote it out and we put it in big words on the board. And I said, well, is it on your letterhead? Is it on every communication that you do? Do you say it every time that you open a meeting? Do you constantly share where they are in that plan and what part that they're going to play? Did you even ask their opinion of what things they can do? And maybe did you even take a little time to find out what their gifts and talents were and how they would fit into that overall plan? Wow. It amazed me that for years I've looked at different things. I've spent my life on the line crew and climbing this and that, and you know what? Working with animals and now working with people. And one of the things that over and over Miss Robin and I have come across is this thing of communication. And when we started looking at Wranglers and doing some interviews and pulling out their information, it was amazing to us just what great leaders they were, and just how they handled different situations, that they were well versed in the art of doing some things, and the first art was being a coach. It amazed me that it go over and over that the new person in the lineup on the ranch, you know what, they got a lot of attention. And sometimes the old cowboys took offense that the new guy got a lot more attention, but it was for a reason. Now, I started on the line crew, and back then it was a 10-man crew, and I was the brand new 19-year-old boy. I was ready to rock and roll, and I didn't know nothing. I thought I knew everything, but you know what? Soon learned from that lead lineman that best thing I could do was stop and listen and learn. That's when we started looking at different things in different ways. So let me go back over these few steps that we've talked about today. And yes, I labeled this thing Wranglers. And that's because I've been spending more time with them and I maybe shouldn't have. But I want to share it with you because it's so important to carry this over into our business lives. But now I want you to just think about these things we're going to talk about here and put them in your personal lives first. Personal lives first, then in your business life. Okay? I know you all can do it because we've done it in the past. So let's take it real slow. 1. Leaders can see farther, see more, and take action with no fear. Leaders see something that needs doing, and they do it. No questions asked. They see it needs done, they get it done. Leaders bring a sense of enthusiasm to everything they do. I'll tell you what, you can put a smile on a pig if you take and work hard enough. Now, leaders are always moving forward to reach their destination. Now, here's the ticket. You need to know what your destination is and share it. Leaders encourage everyone around them, knowing that nothing gets done by itself. We all stand on shoulders of people who are greater than we are before we were ever thought of. Leaders like people who ask questions. Leaders like people who ask questions because they know then, at least if they're asking questions, they're paying attention and they're involved. That's a good thing. Now, leaders can tell a positive story with a meaningful ending. Now, leaders, I'm going to encourage you to do a couple things. Make sure that you have 2 or 3 of these stories ready and prepared in your mind that you can tell at any time, that they just come out with a simple telling, and they don't have to take 4 hours. They can take, a minute and a half to 3 and still get the point across. Okay? Less is more here. Now, leaders challenge those around them to cowboy up. No whining. I tell you what, well, I used to encourage people to come into my office, but I told them quite frankly, you can come in here and complain and moan and groan about anything if you have a solution to what you're moaning and groaning about, and we will put that solution into place and give it a try and see what works. Big difference on what people came into my office with. Now, leaders motivate with the best coaching skills learned by dealing with animals they work with. We'll go back just a little bit. Just take this. Leaders motivate the best with the best coaching skills. If you haven't gone and taken some classes on coaching, if you haven't learned the coaching skills of asking questions and listening, leaders, this would be a good time to do some of that ongoing continuous learning, wouldn't it? Now, leaders don't overanalyze the situation or the opportunity. They don't get paralyzed by the analyzation, but they do take time to do the research, get prepared before they make the choice and take action. Leaders don't know the word failure. They know the word try. And the word try means, I'm going to give it 100%. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it again. It's like that little engine that said it could. You know what I mean? These are things that in business we need to think about and continually put in our little bag of tricks, they used to say. But I'm going to say you need to put it in your bag of working knowledge. And that is even more important. Now, I see I have just about, 8 minutes left, and I'm going to tag on to this next piece a thing called consequences. And we're going to take it further next time out, but we're going to go real quick on it because I am constantly working with people who don't understand the word consequence. They don't understand that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, but they don't understand for every action there is a consequence. Now, some of these consequences are good. You go to work, you do a good job, you get paid. That's a great consequence. If you call in sick 20 times and go to the beach and somebody catches you and you get fired, that's a consequence. If you go and rob somebody with a gun, you go to jail, that's a consequence. You see, even the things about when you were little and you were at the dining room table and someone said, you said to someone, I need some potatoes. And someone said, is that the way you ask for it? You see, the consequence there was just having to say please or ask nicely, and you got the potatoes. But if not, you didn't get any. Early on training of consequences is a must. Leaders, I know that you're going to have some employees and people working in and around you that did not learn this at their home. And unfortunately, it's probably going to fall on your shoulders to do a little training of what consequences are. I'm going to encourage you to do that with a little bit of nuance. One is, have a list of expectations, written expectations of what you expect of that employee or the person working with you. You know, even a significant other needs from time to time. I know when we got married, it sure was nice to, I told her, I said, you need to write down what you want me to do because I just don't get it. The expectations are part of consequences. You see, people will live up to or down to the expectations given them. But when no expectations are given them, they just run rampant. And they don't know where to go. And this is when people get into trouble. Leaders, I encourage you to use this thing. Just really expectations. It's not all that tough. Write down the expectations, but write down the consequences of what happens if those expectations are met, the positive side, and what happens if they're not met, the not so positive side. People need to know exactly where their boundaries are. I've always believed that. I myself still like to know what I can and can't do and should and shouldn't do, and the consequences are going to come with it. Our daughter was at the dining room table last night, and of course she's grown and has her own daughter now, and she said one of the biggest consequences that she could think of was that if she did something that she knew she wasn't supposed to do, that I would be disappointed in her. You know, I told her I'd love her no matter what because she's my daughter. But she said that she didn't do those things because of the consequences. You see, consequences go together with this whole piece that we've been talking about all day. This thing of what makes a great leader. You see, even great leaders have consequences because if it goes well, boy, everybody's happy as a clam. But if it didn't go so well, they're the first ones that want to climb on board and find out who was doing it. So we spend so much time laying blame instead of going back and saying, what could have we done different? Or, my favorite, what did you learn from that? You see, consequences have real meaning. And that word right there, what did you learn from that? I have to tell you that has been a big learning tool. Not only in my life, but with our children, but in businesses that we've been in charge of and really jumped in to help out and dig out and bail out. You see, most people didn't know what the expectations were. The leaders thought that the workers understood, but the workers didn't understand. The leaders did 14 different things, and there was 12 different bosses telling one person what to do, and none of it was written down, and so everybody was just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. You want to be a leader? Expectations will help you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's little piece that we've talked about consequences. We've talked about what's made a good leader. And on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team here, we want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our goal is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you build your leadership ability. Now, as always, if you have a question for today's program, all you have to do is give us a call at 727-422-1833. 727-422-1833. Or you can send me an email at dick, D-I-C-K, at leadershipwrangler.com. Or you want to do something even better? Go set your very own appointment with us And Miss Robin and I will be glad to talk to you. Go to www.leadershipwrangler.com. Set your very own time. Well, until next time, I see we're running out of time. Until next time, this is Dick Powell saying, ride hard, ride fast.